Hey, you guys, look who's them. It's, wow, twice in 2 days. Who knew, right? So I had to come back and do a cover three extra today because I have reached my saturation point with this witch hunt that is going on with regard to the Washington Redskins name. First of all, it's not our nickname, okay? That is the official, registered trademark, official, registered copyright name, Washington Redskins, okay? So it's not our nickname. Second of all, we don't have a mascot, all right? Most people, when they're talking about the mascot, are talking about the logo that the team wears on their helmet that is painted on the 50-yard line, just like every other team has their team logo on their helmet, on their 50-yard line of their stadium. Um, Today, though, was the tipping point for me with this absolute nonsense about the FCC considering a ban on broadcasting or using the name during a live broadcast. Okay. So here is where I am, I want to I want to say the most foul, vile, rude words that I've ever said in my life about this right now because that's how upset I am about it. But I will remember that I have you know I have a last name that I need to be, my parent. I don't want to embarrass my parents or my son, so I'll behave myself. So look here. This is the situation. Now, you know what? I don't care for, well, let's pick something out of the sky. I don't care for bluegrass music, okay? It's just not my cup of tea. It's not offensive to me. I just don't like it. And I don't see how it fits into my life or, how I want to support it, so I don't. I don't listen to it. I don't purchase it. I don't watch anything about bluegrass music. I don't participate in anything having to do with bluegrass music. I don't like it. I choose not to have it as a component of my entertainment. Now, one thing I also don't like um, is, quite frankly, a particular political party. And as such, I will not vote for anybody in that political party. I will not support anyone in that political party. I will not uh, um, patronize any of their fundraising events or other opportunities to get to know the candidates or anything like that because they don't, their views and how they see certain things, they go against my grain, they go against my beliefs, they go against the way I've chosen to live my life. They've gone against certain things that affect me to a very granular level, such as my gender. I'm a chick, and I can't help that. I didn't determine that. That was determined a long time ago. Before I probably even had a spine. So in other words, I choose to just not support something that I find offensive, okay? Because I find one political party in particular extremely offensive, all right? So I don't support them. But I don't try to take away their freedom of speech. And this is the first slippery slope that we're going to go down if the naysayers who want to impose their will on Dan Snyder have their way about it. If they are able to whine enough. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to call a spade here. That's what they're doing. They're whining about it, okay? Take a look at me. I don't look like the normal everyday person, do I? Okay? I've been called names that I wouldn't repeat. I've had people say horrible things to me. And you know what? I sucked it up and I moved on because I knew that that's not who I was. I knew that what they were saying was not truthful. So it was hard to, but I let it roll off my back and I kept it moving. All right? So if the name Redskins offends you and you want to whine about it to the point of where you're going to take away a business owner's freedom of speech, a team's fan base, their freedom of speech, my freedom of speech to wear a Redskins jersey, or to say the word Redskins when I'm talking, maybe I'm interviewing somebody, and maybe I say the word, or the name Washington Redskins. What? So now the FCC can have me arrested or fine me or do whatever now that they've put a ban on the name. Do you really want to go down that slippery slope? Because I'll tell you what, I found it highly offensive. I found it it was an out and out filthy lie, and it was completely unfounded when a particular broadcaster stated that females who want to have their birth control paid for are under Obamacare are just sluts. I didn't agree with that. But you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't take away his freedom of speech. Because while I feel that what he says is vile and what he says is ridiculous and what he says is completely false and is just a tool of brainwashing mindless minions who listen to that broadcaster day in and day out, my opinion only here, by the way, I would not limit that broadcaster's freedom of speech, because the minute that we start doing that and we say, oh, it's only in this one instance, oh, it's only for this one purpose, then you know what ends up happening? Then what ends up happening is that our rights slowly get eroded, slowly but surely get taken away from us when we aren't even paying attention because someone has whipped us up about a team name, about an issue, about a place or a person. And they've whipped us up into such a frenzy over it that we're not paying attention to the part where, oh yeah, and by the way, you're not allowed to say this. What's next? Not being able to think something? Wake up, people. Pay attention. Because believe it or not, I don't have a tinfoil hat on here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But there's something within the law known as opening the door. And when you open the door to a ding against freedom of speech by stripping the right of someone to say a team name that is a registered legal business name in this country, that's the first step. You open the door. The other thing that I want to say about this is not just that it's freedom of speech that's going to take a hit, but it's also going to be the ability for anybody to say, well, you know what, of a particular wings restaurant that has an owl as its logo. You know, that their business name offends me. I want it changed. I think that they should change it. And the door will be open where if I can make a compelling enough argument, then guess what? That business may have to change its name. You know, people don't sit and think about the long-term effects of something. It's the cause of the moment. It is the popular bandwagon on which to jump. It is a reason to be outraged. It's a way to show your political correctness. It's a way to demonstrate that you are part of, the crowd, and all you are is a sheep who is following other sheep to slaughter. Okay? Now, I don't mean to be so melodramatic about this, and that wasn't my intent at all by doing this cover 3 extra. So you'll have to excuse me for going off a little bit on a very specific tangent relating to my Washington Redskins. But you know what? It just, people aren't paying enough attention to the things that matter in life. They would rather be outraged and have a reason to point a finger of blame and judgment at somebody else. And you know what? If we're going to start changing team names, then here are a couple of other ones for you. Buccaneers. Okay? That, to me, glorifies thievery on the high seas. So, why shouldn't we make them change their name? Because, that's offensive. That glorifies illegal behavior. Vikings. Everything that we have been taught within our history lessons within school was that the Vikings raped women, stole, burned, went in and violently overtook other lands. Well, to me, that's no better than domestic violence. So that perpetuates, something that's painful. So let's ban the Vikings. Cowboys. I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with soap now that I said that. You realize that, right? Anyway, cowboys. They slaughtered Indians, Native Americans in this country. So why aren't we banning that? That perpetuates the painfulness of American history. Raiders. That's an aggressive, violent name. Let's change that. I want it changed. It offends me. You see where I'm going with this here? So y'all, if you don't like the Redskins, that's cool. You don't have to like the Redskins. You don't have to agree with the team name. You don't have to agree with anything having to do with my team. Go ahead and disagree. Don't support the team. That won't hurt my feelings any, because there's plenty of us within Redskins Nation who love and support our team. And whether we always agree with him or not, we'll support our owner on this one facet of team issues and organizational issues. Don't support the Redskins. But if you're going to deny a member of a conglomerate, I don't know if that's what you would call the NFL or not, whether they're a conglomerate or whether they're a franchisee. I guess they are. They're a franchisee. If you're going to deny one team the ability to be named across broadcasts, or to be marketed by mentioning them by name during broadcasts, then it would seem to me that you're taking away their revenue, which again is taking away the freedom of somebody to do business in this country. So, so folks, think about this. Seriously, think about it. And I'm not saying that, I advocate being insensitive to people. I don't. I'm torn on this subject, because while I would never, ever, ever say certain things because they're filthy, they're vile things to say, I'm torn on this because in my X number of years on this planet, I won't say exactly how many, I have never, ever been in the presence of anyone who has said Redskins as a derogatory or a shaming tool or way to disparage another person. Never. And I want you to think about it if you have. And I'm not talking about on TV, and I'm not talking about in the movies. I'm talking about you and your friends out to dinner or at the club or at the bar, at the sports pub, and you hear somebody say, you Redskin, like you would hear somebody utter the N word. I will be willing to bet you that there is not one person out there who can tell me that they have personally witnessed that. And if you have, my hat's off to you because you're the only person in the 21st century who's ever heard it. So keep these things in mind, y'all. Again, you don't like the Redskins? Cool, I do. And I take it as a personal affront that I'm some small-minded moron who has no conception of worldview just because I like the Washington Redskins and because I dare to say Washington Redskins and because I sing Hail to the Redskins. Although not that often anymore because, hey, we haven't really been scoring that much lately, but that's a whole other rant. So it's your girl, Miss M. I'm sorry I took up your time to rant and rave here, but I had to get that off my chest. Man, that just struck me the wrong way today when I saw it. Hey, listen, join me in the next week or two because, like I told you yesterday, we've gotten some things worked out, and I'm hopefully going to have my girl Pamela Michelle and my girl Erica on to talk all things football and give you our perspective of the season thus far, fantasy football, everything else related to the NFL. Y'all take it easy. Don't be too stressed out. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. And hey, well, thank you again for your support, your undying support, and tell you I'll see you next time. Take care, y'all.